Basically, first of all, I believe what's happened with the English Defence League has happened. I believe the debate has had to be had, and I believe that for the last 4 years I've seen it as part of the solution. I believe the underswell and the feeling has had to get out there. I've then become of the belief that progressing, instead of being part of the solution, it may become part of the problem, which is not what I've wanted. First of all, I apologise for the fact that what I've represented and said has not resonated individually with Muslims. I don't hate Muslims. I've said the whole way through this, I don't hate Muslims. And ourselves, we're both singing off the same hymn sheet. From Luton Town, it's a completely multicultural town, and from the day one in the English Defence League, we wanted to embrace everyone, all colours and all creeds. I have a passion to combat Islamist ideology, and I said it earlier, I want to lead a revolution against that Islamist ideology, but I don't want to lead a revolution against Muslims. I don't hate Muslims. And I went away for 18 weeks in October, and during that time was the first time I'd had out the English Defence League in 3 years, and it's quite a chaotic life to say the least. It has been chaotic with death threats or violent assaults or arrests. It's been chaotic. And then when I was away for 18 weeks, I was in solitary confinement. It gave me time to evaluate everything, think about everything, think about where I was going. I thought about how I neglected my wife, my children, my family, and I also thought about, what do we want? What is it we want? People keep saying, well, you're doing this, which we are doing, and I still maintain. Each time we're doing demonstrations, it's a cry for help from Middle England. It's like, there are problems. We're not going to solve these problems by pretending they're not there. And quite frankly, that's what I've seen, everyone burying their head in the sand. So I asked myself a lot of questions when I was away, and what we want, and to achieve what we want, is I've got 3 young children. I want what's best for them. And what's best for them is to confront the problem, but I then realised that marching through the streets saying Allah, Allah, Huda is Allah, what we were actually doing is giving any moderates, any people who are willing to speak up against extremist voices, we're actually giving them something something to align themselves with extremists on the same issue, because we're offending all of them. So to solve the problem, we need the support, and we need to work with Muslims in this country to defeat Islamist ideology. And similar, Muslims need to work with non-Muslims to defeat the neo-Nazi ideology. Now, when I come out of custody, I've been gone 18 weeks. We had fought for 3.5 years to keep fascists, to keep racists out of the English Defence League. When I was away, there was an attempt at a coup which involved people turning on Kevin Carroll, because he is of the same ethos and belief of what I want, and an attempted takeover. Now, I was released on tag. When I was released on tag, it's the first demonstration in 3 years I hadn't been to. And when I looked at that Manchester demonstration, and I saw flags and signs, white pride flags, I saw things that did not represent me. Yeah? And I've managed to steer this. Very difficult. But when I was looking at it, I thought, that does not represent me. Am I willing to be the public face for them? No, I'm not. And that's the big issue for me. That's when it started. This started in February. And I come out and look, I will not be the public face for them. And then I've said, when someone turns up at a demonstration and they lift up their top and they've got a picture of a mosque and it says boom, yeah, Muslims think they're offended and they're upset. We're offended by that. It's my face. Everyone here reports as a racist. It's me that takes the flak from it, and I have not once support that or believe it. I have to go pick my kids up from school and look at other parents and look at people judging me, everyone judging me on something, on actions of others. And I've been willing to wear that hat, because I know how much this movement has meant to so many ordinary people. A lot of people want to tarnish all English Defence League supporters as extremist Nazis. They're not. Okay, the English Defence League, I've met the best people I've ever met in my life in that movement. And I believe they're discriminated against and frowned upon because they're working class. And there hasn't been a voice. And the biggest part of this which was hitting me so hard, is that I'm going to take that away from them. And so many people are going to feel let down from that. And there was another demonstration recently in Portsmouth, so that's come out. I'd made the decision, I told my family, which was the biggest relief they'd ever heard. that I'm leaving the English Defence League. When I looked at that and I thought, I've gone and not just to these people back at our demonstration that I've been fighting to keep out, they've actually been invited back for this call for unity with the far right. Something I've never stood for and I wouldn't stand for. And then from there, I've made the decision and I didn't get involved with the English Defence League, and then John Lee Ricky was brutally murdered. And it was at that point that I thought, you know what, everything went out the window for me. It was, again, passion took over. And everything took over, where I threw my life straight back into it. And for people to say this is easy, because I've heard many people say, oh, you're looking for the easy way out. This isn't easy. And the easy way out would have been to leave the English Defence League. Sitting here with these lads here, this ain't the easy way out for me. I'm going back to working class communities that are going to feel let down, and I've got to face them. And I can face them in the conscience that what I'm doing is the right thing. And what I'm doing, I believe, is a step in the right direction, not the wrong direction. And I'm not denouncing the fact that I wish to oppose Islamist ideology, and we have a passion, we both have a passion. I despise Nazis as much as I despise Islamists. And anyone who's watched for the last 4 years, although it hasn't been reported, we've set fire to swastika flags. I get as many threats from neo-Nazis. I've had them come into my hometown and attack me in my pub, in my local pubs. So I've tackled it, and I wish to continue tackling and highlighting that problem, because what they've done is what we've tried to build with the English Defence League is a credible voice to combat it. They ruin everything. Because the minute a bottle's thrown, the minute racism is heard, no one's listening to our message of what we're trying to say, which is why so many Muslims out there automatically, when I see them, think I hate them. They think I hate them. I don't hate them. I don't hate them at all. But at the same time, I want to combat Islamist ideology. I'm not going to shy away from talking about issues that need to be spoken about. And that's where I'm at. Lee Rigby was killed. Moving on from that, there was a demonstration in Portsmouth where, again, I couldn't attend. To be honest, it's unsustainable for me to attend every demonstration with my family. I have 3 young children, I've neglected them enough, and the minute I don't attend, these rogue elements are back. Not just are they back, recently in Portsmouth, these splinter groups were giving speeches. Now, my decision then come that I don't want to be a public face for that. It's beyond my control. There's demonstrations being called in certain cities. In Bristol, I'm not in support of some of these demonstrations, and I'm not willing to be the public face for it. I also, then, in the middle of all this, I was on a journey with the BBC in a programme called When Tommy Met Mo. And when I met Mo Ansar, again, it strengthened my belief in what I do and what I say. It strengthened my belief in the fact that I met a representative who was supposed to be in charge of interfaith, who was an apologist. And he was apologising, and he did not accept one of the problems. In that documentary, I come across Osama. I went away. I'd already known the work William were doing for years. I'd read the reports and the policy change they'd brought about from tackling violent extremism to tackling non-violent extremism. For the last 4 years, I've said I'm not worried about the violent Muslim extremists on the streets. My problem is with the Islamist extremists that are working with our councils across the country. In my hometown, my representative of the Muslim community is an Islamist. So that was my problem. So when I saw the policy change they brought about, and then when Majid come and spoke to Mo Ansar, he put it on the table to Mo Ansar and picked him at all his faults, which I didn't expect any Muslim to do. So I then spoke with Majid about his views, my views, and to be honest, I found myself singing off the same hymn sheet for what I see as a future and the way to progress forward. Now, a lot of people are saying, I've had it all day today, I'm getting a lot of people calling me a sellout, calling me a coward. Now, I have to be true to myself, I have to do what I think's right. This is what I think's right. I don't think there's any more powerful statement than us four sitting here today, in the face of Islamist extremism and in the face of extreme far-right, neo-Nazis, fascists, the splinter organisations that have been like vultures to the English Defence League. Now, at the same time, this voice has been created. There is a voice that's been created, and whether people like it or not, whether anyone likes it or not, millions of people across this country, when I've been talking, they're agreeing with what we're saying. They're not agreeing with the tactics or the extremism that's sometimes shown within the English Defence League, but it's hitting home with people. There's a reason why the English Defence League ended up having more online support than any political party in this country, because it's hitting home. Now, I weighed all this up. We have 2 documentaries ready to go. These documentaries would have brought more support to the English Defence League. The English Defence League is in a position where it can put more people on the street than it's ever been able to. Now, at that moment, we've made this decision. At that moment, rather than riding that wave for the next 12 months and continuing, it's not. People are saying bring a demonstration back to Luton. I don't see it's beneficial now to bring a demonstration back down to Luton. I believe the councils and government have seen a backlash, and to be honest, to get through 4 years without anyone getting seriously injured, and to get that groundswell of anger and frustration, which people have to accept. I condemn people for shouting Allah, Allah, who is Allah, and I condemn people for getting violent on demonstrations. I understand where the anger and frustration is building, and the more you suppress a voice, the more extreme it will become. So people need to see, which I'm asking all my supporters who have followed me, to put faith in the decision we're making and follow. I don't believe street protests and the way it's going is the way forward. I believe an opportunity has to be given to see if this can progress. And it can progress to be the debate, instead of being had out on the street, can be had in an arena that it is supposed to be had, where everyone can put what's out on the table and try and work this out in a democratic process. The whole way through this, we've said democracy is the answer. But I believe our political leaders and this whole era that we're in, which we are completely stuck in, of political correctness and cultural sensitivity that has seen the facilitation of race. It's seen everything because people are so scared of being called a racist. What has to happen is that Muslims in this country have to listen to what we're saying. I don't hate Muslims, but if we're going to pick fault at Islamist ideologies, we can't be called Islamophobic all the time. You can't call everybody a racist. You can't shut down that debate. And for me, I see this as a huge, not just a statement. I'm dreading going home. I feel like I'm in a bubble, and I don't even think really I'll see the consequences of this for the next couple of days.
Dominic O'Reilly Times. Tommy, is it not the case you've been forced out of the organisation you founded because you failed to control the supporters? And how dangerous are those elements in the organisation which are now gathered under the EDL banner?
Look, I haven't been forced out. If you look at the reaction from the English Defence League today, they're devastated. The supporters are devastated. There's no forcing out. There's been no call for me to leave. Yeah? And when you talk about how dangerous are they, we need to put it into perspective. We've had 341 Muslims arrested for terrorism in the last 4 years. We've had no English Defence League supporters. So when you put it into perspective of danger, which is what I keep saying, the biggest threat is the Islamist ideology. Yes, rogue elements, far-right extremists, which I've tried to warn as well. I've said within 5-10 years, what you will have is people in this country blowing things up. Yeah? Breivik-style things. It's coming, okay? Unless this problem gets tackled. And that's not me wishing it or wanting it. It's the last thing I want. But I know it's going to be painful, and I pray that the English Defence League stays to the core root of how it was founded and the foundations we built on. But it's going to be very painful to watch possibly what becomes of it.